Fireball Sports Channel on YouTube. Welcome to the Fireball Podcast. We do this Tuesdays and Thursdays with me and my dad, talking about uh, anything trending in sports. And today we're going to be talking about the NBA, NHL, and a little baseball. So, where do you want to start?
Um, let's start with the Rangers since they're right now the most important part for New York fans. They're still in the playoffs.
Right, right. They're still in play, and they look like to me that I don't know, that last two wins back to back. Momentum counts for anything in sports. That, not to mention how talented they are. That's a pretty good sign.
Well,
Two
the,
overtime wins from behind.
yeah, the Rangers are very lucky that they're leading. They should actually be down 3-0 because they've been outplayed in all three games. Um, they
Hmm.
they've gotten some very fortunate breaks. Florida is bigger than they are. They appear to be
Hmm.
faster than they are, and they're just taking it to them. The last game, they were outshot 37-23, and it seemed as though the Rangers could not get it out of the zone. What few chances they
Yeah,
had,
even the game-winning goal when they got it out of the zone, they punted the puck three times before got it under control and scored. It was well, I don't know, game two, both goalies were awesome. They made a lot of great saves, but I don't know. I actually listened um King Henrik talk. I like hearing goalie talk about another goalie style of play, and he said the Rangers goalie is right stance, and he's gonna keep his eye on the puck and get the saves he's supposed to get. He'll stop breakaways, but he's a very somebody that's supposed to be a top level goalie. He does very few things that most goalies do, just like his opponent on the Panthers, flying around, diving for everything, and he does look like the best goalie.
well,
So
Bobrovsky gave up at least one goal that he probably should have stopped. He didn't whiff on it, but Shesterkin is just so consistent. He has yet to give up a goal that he whiffed on. And he made, even the save he made with about 6 seconds in regulation to go is just amazing. One of the things
yeah,
that the Rangers can't match the Panthers for their aggressiveness. Panthers, their game is to actually skirt right up to the line and almost dare the referees to call penalties because a lot of what they do with interference and high sticking and things like
you're
that,
right, right.
um, the refs don't call it.
So you do it enough, and you can
They
score every
they
time, and you
dare
get away with a couple.
the refs to blow the whistle, and then if they do blow the whistle, they don't change their play, and it's like they dare the ref to blow it again. And the Rangers,
What
I
do
don't
you
know
think?
what
What violation do you think they're committing the most? Like offsides or high stick when they,
inter,
knock the puck down?
interference more than anything else. Truba got penalized for hitting somebody
Well,
in
yeah,
the
in game
elbow,
two,
and
their goal
he,
was
he didn't
the
hit
guy looked
somebody
like the
in the
Statue of
elbow,
Liberty standing in front of the Rangers goalie
and
when they
he
scored.
got fined for it. So it's almost
Well, what do you define interference? Do you have to touch the goalie?
no. Well, that's goalie interference. There's two types of interference. If you interfere with the opponent from, or if you hit the opponent as he's trying to get the puck and he's in the clear, that's interference. It's one thing if you're both
Right.
going for the puck along the boards and you bump, that's not interference because neither of you have control. But if your team has control and you're going to get the puck and then you get hit, that's interference. And they're pounding the Rangers. They're bigger and they actually look like they're fast.
Was that something that was always a penalty in hockey?
Yeah, it's always been a penalty, but I think it's more accentuated here in the playoffs because um, a of what's involved, and b the amount of hitting and the amount of off the puck activity is kind of overlooked because the refs don't want to be responsible for
Yeah.
somebody. So they called a little bit looser, and the Panthers take advantage of it. The Rangers aren't,
Well,
because although
I
they do hit, they didn't hit as much as the Panthers did. Where they excelled is they block shots. And
right.
if you watch the Rangers carefully, the beatings that the defenseman, especially Adam Fox, takes along the boards, it's taken him out of the play. He's a big
Yeah.
he's a big
Yeah.
part
Well, he's
of the
the
Ranger offense. He gets it started. Um,
yep. Even from the defensive spot,
he had
and
a
I mean that pass he made in game 2 to them on the board was like anybody in the world shoots that, and he has the presence of mind to see the open man, get it right in front of the goalie, in between the defender. The goalie dives and misses it, and then empty net. He's such a good passer, and he seems like he has eyes in the back of his head. But
well,
yeah, I guess that doesn't matter if you're smashed into a wall.
he's not exhibiting that kind of um, skill right now, because I think it was in game 3 of the Capitals playoffs. He had a knee on knee collision with one of the Capitals, and those
Yeah.
usually create injuries to the knee in hockey. And
Hmm.
he doesn't have that extra jump in his step, and that's probably playing some part of his not being as fast as he should be. And then when he's getting banged the way he is, that's slowing him down. One of the sports writers who covers the Rangers, actually, the New York Post has 3 writers covering them, suggested that maybe he should just sit down a game and put Zach Jones in, who is a good puck carrier. He's not Adam
Sit
Fox.
down the game for what? To
Just
heal?
keep him out to let him catch his, because playing every other day, he's not getting a chance to rest. He's not really practicing, um, and that's creating problems for the Rangers. If they can't, their offense comes
So he'll
from the
get three
breakout.
days off instead of one, and what? Like the Rangers aren't holding team practices when So what is he gonna
They have
practice?
they have
Do
walkthroughs.
physical therapy?
Yeah, they
No,
have
I'm
walk.
saying that like they're not gonna hold a practice for him on game day because he sits down.
Well, instead of having just a 24-hour break, he could get a 48 or 72-hour break,
72 hour break because they play every other
and
day.
that gives
So
them a chance to rest up. Because I think that's what's hurting him now. The other guys are, Fox is not as big as Truba. He's not as big as Schneider or Keandre Miller. The other guys are pretty hefty guys, and Fox is probably the smallest of the 6 defensemen that they use. And
well, yeah, because he's a scoring defenseman.
he's,
He's not a
taking the big pounding.
goon.
So, and the
Yeah.
the
Like
Rangers
you
have
said, the whole Rangers team though is kind of built to play offense from defense. So, player like Fox, they needed someone to protect them. They needed somebody. I would rather than see him sit down. I would rather have his counterpart on defense or a forward that's back. Keep I don't know, get him on a line with some big guys that that aren't going to score anyway, and can kind of make sure that those things don't happen to him because I don't know. It's hard to say who the best player on their team is. I always think in hockey, unless you have a Messier or a Gretzky or you know, because they're passer, best scorer, the fastest guy will do so many things. And Kreider's really clutch and a little bit of all those things on offense, um, but Fox is probably the most complete player. I think you
yeah.
could argue it at least.
Well, the
So
Rangers,
how could you sit him down? I mean, unless he says I'm hurt.
and they'll never hockey
Um,
players never tell you they're hurt. They're probably the toughest of all athletes in professional sports. Uh,
well, being a restaurant, well, not anymore, but being a former restaurant owner, I saw every type of professional athlete on a weekly basis, and I have no idea how hockey players could be the toughest because I'm bigger than all of them.
Well,
I mean, they are. I've never seen a more middle school looking professional sports team in my life than professional hockey players.
that doesn't really equate to whether or not they're tough or not.
Mm,
There's no
well,
other
I mean,
sport that has to do
tough.
what hockey
The
players have to do. They get
well,
pounded legally. They have to skate. They're not.
I think it has to do because the other sports they get paid big money. They, aren't risking their health. Hockey players make you know, what a really good executive at a retail store makes.
Well,
You know.
the other thing you have to worry about getting back to the series is you have had 0 goals from Zibanejad, Kreider, Panarin. Panarin has an assist. That's all he's done.
Hmm.
And they've gotten 3 goals from Goodrow. They got 2 from Lafreniere on Sunday. Guys, and that you do need those third and fourth liners, or the Lafreniere is a second liner. Trocheck's playing well. He scored a couple of times, but when your top 2 scorers, actually top 3, have contributed 1 assist, you're in trouble. And when I say they're lucky to be up 2-1 and not down 3-0, it's a couple of things. Like I said, they're getting out hit, they're not as fast, and their stars are not scoring. Um,
Yeah.
Florida
Well,
stars are scoring. Verhage scored.
then again, though, they
Ekblad
are so
scored.
talented, though. It's just like we talked about with the Yankees with Aaron Judge when they were crucifying him in April. And I remember I kept saying, well, thing with Judge is I'm not going to say he's going to have an MVP year again, but if he's batting 160 with 1 home run in a month and 7 RBIs, here's
Mm,
what I know: the hot month's coming. So the Rangers have, 7 guys that are in the top 50 players in hockey. I mean, at least 5 of them. If none of them are doing anything, I feel like they will in the next 4 games. Um, that's kind of how it goes. It's in the playoffs in any sport. You can't really. I can't remember a time in playoffs in any sport that stars have been
well,
so much
happened last
better.
year to the
Um,
Rangers. Panarin against New Jersey when they got bounced out by the Devils. Panarin didn't score. He was
yeah.
non-existent. So
Well, yeah.
it
But they
happened.
have a lot of scores, though. One guy can see, but hockey's a different. It's not basketball, where your main scorer has to. Hockey. I think that well, look who scores the overtime game winner, and then gets another goal. In game three, somebody that you would probably say never's going to score. Period in the playoffs. What's his Goodrow,
Goodrow scored the game winner in game 2, and Wenberg, who
and then he scored
had not scored
right,
a point, I don't think, throughout the entire playoffs. But he
right,
scored the game winner. He was in the right position, and
and
it's
he scored in game three.
Wenberg.
Didn't
No,
no
he may have.
Goodrow,
Goodrow scored in game 3, and he
right,
had two
two
goals.
and three
Yeah, he had 1 goal in game 2, 2 goals in
to
game
win
3.
it.
And the post game show was had a great shot of the game winning goal. One of the Florida defensemen went to try to pound somebody into the boards to clear the puck, and they just right before he got there, they were able to put the puck back to the point, and they just shot it on goal. And Wenberg had nobody in front of him.
Are you
He was
talking about game two or game three?
game 3.
Okay,
There was
okay,
nobody in front of him. And even if the first deflection didn't go in, there was nobody around them to stop him from banging in the rebound. So that was a mistake on Florida's part.
right,
But they had played consistently aggressive all game, and it really worked out for them. They got a
right.
couple lucky bounce. The Rangers got a couple shorthanded goal. Usually doesn't happen, but
Hmm.
when they get a chance to skate in open ice, you can see the skill that they have. And that shorthanded
Right.
goal is amazing. But they better be prepared tonight when they drop the puck, because Florida's going to take the same approach that they did in Game 3. They're just going to go after them and hit them and hit them and hit them until they wear them down. Give up. You have a 2-goal lead going into the third period, and then you give up the tying goals within a minute and a half of each other. That's that's
Yeah.
unacceptable.
Well,
That's
the Panthers are
unacceptable in
gonna
the
are gonna
playoffs.
be very pissed off because of the fact that they lost Game 3. Just because they scored the first goal and they got down, but came back, and uh, and let the Rangers bring it into overtime, and then they lose in overtime. It's like,
Um,
so you either look like they're gonna be mad, or they're gonna just be, like I said, the Rangers can ride that momentum. Nobody. And you know what? If the Panthers, I don't know enough about the Panthers or hockey in general to know if what you mentioned about the style of play, is that something they're doing because it's the playoffs and they know in every sport the refs let you play a little more in the playoffs.
that's
Is that
part of it.
strategy, or is that just how they are made up?
They are. That's their game. They're big and they are
Hmm.
fast and they have a lot of skilled players. They might have more skilled players than the Rangers do, but
It's close. I mean, I
that's
think the
not.
Rangers
You can
have
never
more depth.
quantify that to say this team is definitely better than the others. Um, but the Rangers, it's going to be key for them to hold off for the first 5 to 10 minutes. Don't let Florida score, because if they score right away, then the momentum shifts back to them. So they got to make sure that that
Mm,
doesn't happen. Um, so
well,
we'll see what
well,
happens. Puck drops at
and
8 o'clock, ESPN.
yeah, well, and on Thursday's podcast, what I'm going to have instead of this up down, what I'm going to have is I'm going to have a camera filming the studio. Everybody can only see what the backdrop is, but really quickly, I'm going to show. We have screens here, and I'm going to have you on the screen, and and then on the other, vertically, you on it, and the other one will be with stats and plays that we can actually, when we talk about them, they'll be in the background running. Um, that's going to be a cool thing. I don't know if I can. Uh, I'm going to try this. Let's see if this works. This is that goal you were talking about.
Oh, they're walking. They scored because they're leaving the ice, and you can see Wenberg is wide open, and it was more he got in the way of the puck than any skill on his part. But it was shot right at his belly, and even if it did hit his stick, but even if it did hit his body and went into the net, it's still a goal. Doesn't matter as long as he
Right.
as long
Right.
as he doesn't kick it in, it still counts. But
Yeah, I mean, I look at it. It's the same thing as when the Panthers got their only goal in Game 1. I mean, they take a shot that goes through the 5 hole, and their forward that probably should have gotten the ball past. He's standing there, the stick in the air, right in front of the goalie, and you can't see anything, and it just goes right between his legs.
well, I
It's
didn't.
just, so if it bounces off of you by accident, I feel like that's just the same as when you got somebody blocking the goalie's view and taking blind shots.
If he well,
Hockey's a funny sport because you can do a lot of things that you can't in other sports to cheat.
well,
It's not
high
cheating.
high stick over your head. It's not a penalty, but you can't put your stick over your shoulder. And if he did that in front of the goalie, they should have disallowed the
No,
goal. I
he
didn't.
had it like this
I
with the
didn't see.
statue.
So you got to keep
He,
that. You got to keep that stick below your shoulder.
over his shoulder, but not the stick.
Yeah, usually they'll let that go if it's just
Right.
the point.
And it definitely didn't affect the goal. If he would have had his stick here, the goal's going in either. It was a 5 hole. It's not like. And the Rangers also hit the post 3 times that game. I thought they looked good in Game 2, and a couple of things bounced different. They could have rode some momentum. But anyway, yeah, we'll see tonight. Um, did you catch the Celtics game last night against the Pacers?
Yeah, the Pacers
Uh,
were. Yeah, I did not. Um, the Pacers were beat after they lost Game 3, and Halliburton didn't play, and he didn't play again last night. And the Celtics, big two, they dominated the game. That I don't
yeah.
even this Newbart or Newhart, whatever his name is. He actually, yeah, he actually stepped up to replace what they were missing with Halliburton.
He could shoot. I
But they
mean,
need him
he's
and
the
Halliburton.
he's the one that I say he's the reason the Knicks lost the series. In Game 6, he hit that 35-foot shot when the Knicks were playing unbelievable defense, and that tied the game up. And if they would have missed that shot, got it would have been a shot clock violation almost. Knicks had a 3-point lead, and they just went on a run. The momentum would have been theirs, and they would have locked it up. But I hate seeing the Celtics sweep the Pacers because the thing is I know the Knicks would have beat the Celtics considering Brunson's injury, but changes everything. But even a banged up Knicks team without uh, Anunoby would have beat them up. I would have given him a 7-game series at least. But I guess the only thing I can say is that with the way you predicted when I said Luka Doncic looks hurt, in the first couple games of the playoffs, you were right when you said he's sure as hell doesn't look hurt now because he's playing great every game. And he like you said with Kyrie next to him, um, it's a very hard team to beat. And I don't think the Celtics are the team that's going to beat them. But last night, Jaylen Brown hits that three. I have never, and the announcers are crediting it. Like, what a good play call. They're down by three. They inbound the ball with 12 seconds left. Siakam's like guarded him like glue. He pump fakes and like Siakam jumps. He's almost gonna foul him, and then he tucks his hands behind his back. He brings his whole upper body, he bends it backwards so he doesn't foul him because having the Pacers repeat the 4-point Larry Johnson play from
Hmm.
15 years ago, and the guys, but still, because Siakam's so big, he did jump as he's going backwards, and the guy gets this awkward shot off, and it was a quarter of an inch away from rimming out. It's not like it was a nothing but net, perfect look. And Jaylen Brown ties it up. They go into overtime, and he goes on another 3-point spree and wins the MVP of the series. I posted something that congratulations, Jaylen Brown, the Celtics. That'll be the last time that anyone named Jaylen besides Brunson wins anything in the NBA Eastern Conference.
Well,
Um, in,
we'll
in,
see what happens.
and just so you know, we talked a little. I just want a real quick touch with the Knicks. Talked a little bit about the Julius Randle trade, like you were sending me those links, and then the one that they're not shopping him. I knew that guy. I had mentioned to you, if you remember, that if the right offer is there for Randle, the Knicks would be smart to shop him because when they're all healthy without him, they win, but they also win with him. And if someone gets hurt, they're a deep team. Whether people think it or not, they are a deep team. And if he can buy the man and him being, second or third or fourth some nights, then you want him. And if they get an offer for him, it has to be a star. There's somebody, oh shit, who is that name that I heard mentioned for him? They have very similar stats. Kid had a great year last year. He scored 24 a game this year. And he's younger, but it's purely for cap. Because Randall, if he wants to sign an extension, the Knicks have to pay OG Anunoby, and he's going to get between 35 and 40 million a year. And um, I would not pay Randall that. So if there's a way to bring somebody that can even be, a 20-point a game scorer, or a defense, or another Ananobi that's a D&3 guy, and then you can package Bogo in the deal, get his uh, salary cap number off the books, because that's what they're talking about. Get him off the books to sign. I don't like Randall making $40 million, their third best player.
But he's
When
well, Brunson was never this good. He really
well,
blossomed this year.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. He didn't get a chance. The Mavs, they didn't play him, and if he was starting point guard on them right now, they would have the best team in NBA history. Um, they he was the NCAA Player of the Year in his last year at Nova. He won. He was the MVP of the tournament in his senior year. He either won two or three championships in his 4 years there.
I think too.
Um, Two, and he was the freshman of the year his first year there. He was also the preseason freshman of the year before his first year started. He won everything you could possibly win in college, and his teammate goes before him in the draft, DiVincenzo, because he had that big shot in the, that won one of the games.
Yeah.
Um, but Brunson, and it was because of his height. It's funny, they list him at 6'3". Did you know that?
Yeah.
Like, I know for a fact he's not 6'3". He looks to me, I thought maybe it was like an Iverson where he's probably 5'10", and they list him at 6. They list him at 6'3", and
Yeah.
he still looks about Iverson size. It's like listing me at 6'5", and I'm 6 foot. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's not 5'10", but he's certainly not much
He's not.
taller than I
He's
am.
he's taller than Iverson was. There's no question about
I
that.
mean, but they remind me of similar type of players though. Like, they're small, and they put up big numbers, and they can take over a game, and defense isn't their thing, but they I don't know, good role player. If they're not having a good defensive game, they could still um, not get lit up by someone good. But I've heard people say that there's never been an NBA team that's won the title with a small guy as your best player. And I grew up with Jordan, so that's not fair because Jordan just won every year. So I lost a decade of seeing what could have been. Um, and Shaq and the Lakers then go on to a dynasty. And if you want to, Kobe 6'6", Shaq's the biggest player that's ever played. So, like, the NBA has had, you know, a lot of dynasties, and, and then LeBron comes in the league, and every year he's in the Eastern Conference Finals for 12 years straight. So I just I feel like that statement is, I don't know, maybe it's right, but Steph Curry, I don't know how tall he is, but I mean, I look at him like a little guy. He
He's not
came
so
in
big.
the
He's
league,
no
he
more
weighed
than six.
165.
I'd say 6'3", maybe.
Hmm.
If
And that's what I don't get. If you're 6'3", and okay, that's fine, but you can't be 6'1", that doesn't make sense. That's just like the NFL 6 foot quarterback thing. And then Drew Brees comes in, or Russell Wilson comes in, like, and Drew Brees is the all-time leading passer, you know, um, because he's not 6 foot, he doesn't get drafted, and then when they put him in, he plays well. They still draft Eli and trade for Philip Rivers and send him to the Saints for nothing, just because he's under 6 foot. And they even saw him play. I mean,
Yeah.
Flutie, same thing. He played every time he played, he won, but they would bench him because he's not 6 foot. I don't know why we have this thing with this magical, like,
Well,
you got to
it's
be over 6 foot. Like, why? Because that's
the
the even number. That
the
makes
N-
no sense.
the NFL is just based on their analytics, and they feel the best height for a quarterback is to be at least 6'3". Whether it's right or wrong, that's how
I'm
they do.
sure. Hey, I'm sure it's an advantage to always be able to see over your offensive line when you drop back. But a quarterback in the NFL that's a first round, or that could be a first round pick, if they're 3 inches taller or 2 inches taller. Um, I just look at that like that guy's and they're studying college. They've compensated. I am not a quarterback. I never played quarterback for football in my life as a, other than Pop Warner, but definitely never played quarterback. And I don't know, but I'm sure whether it's dropping back an extra 6 inches or something, I'm sure that they didn't get to that level by luck. Um, you know, they've had to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, let's
But
touch on the Yankees before we have to sign
yeah,
off here.
well, the Yankees lost two in a row.
Well,
Um,
but then they won four in a row, and then they lost
yeah,
one.
well, they were the hottest team in baseball until they lost the two in a row. And like you said, they didn't get beat thoroughly. They were in the games.
Yeah.
Um,
You
at
know,
least they didn't blow a save.
the Yankees have had, I want to say magical, but a streak with their pitching that was totally unanticipated. People were worrying
Hmm.
how they were going to be able to survive without Cole, but
Yeah,
their starting pitching, there's nobody that was out there that ever remotely suggested that they were going to do what they're doing. One of
of
this,
course not.
they have, they've played, I believe, 54 games now. And, it's funny, they've played 54 games and they still have another 108 games to play. So there's still a lot of time to go. But
Yeah, well, baseball.
their pitching staff has five starters have not had a game where they did not go more than 5 innings.
Right,
That is unheard of. That hasn't happened in years. Um,
right. And because of that, you know, they're not going deep either. But um, like you said, what was the
well, their their
stretch
last, I believe,
for their
the last
starters?
14 games, including Sunday, because they only Schmidt only gave up one earned run, and he pitched into the sixth inning. Um, their ERA is 0.84, I believe.
Hmm.
That was that 14 game stretch ties a major league record that dates back to 1893, where there's where the starting pitching has gone,
Well, that's where everything won nothing.
has gone
That's the game.
5 innings or longer and given up less than two earned runs in starts. 1893. That's going back a long ways. And that,
Well, I don't. I know everyone in the world will hear that and be like, "Well, that's a fluke," because the pitchers aren't like the. It's not like they have the best
well, it doesn't matter.
thing for.
It doesn't matter if they have the
But it's a
best.
125-year-old record and it gets broken. There's a reason. It doesn't have to be the pit. Like I said, that when right in the midst of that, when Stroman made his best start of the year, the only time he got into the eighth inning all year, at seven and a third, he had he let up three hits. No, I'm sorry, two hits and one best pitch of the game, and they pulled him in the eighth. And he had then he followed that up with two great starts. But what Mike, so that's about 15 games back. Michael Kay said um, with with uh, the Yankees, and if their pitchers can put a little pizzazz in their when they're at home in the top of the first, then even all the better because then they're coming back out to the field feeling good. But the Yankees have scored in the first inning more than any team in baseball. I think they're in the top 10 in history of scoring in the first inning, too. Their leadoff hitter has the longest hit streak in baseball.
Right?
Did he get to 20 last night or did it finally break?
They didn't play last night. They were off.
I'm sorry, the night before. Yeah,
Yeah,
Sunday
he's at
night,
19. Um,
19.
LeMayu comes back tonight. He's probably going to
Hmm.
be batting seventh or eighth. He's going to play at third base. and he will um,
Yeah.
probably spell Rizzo when left-hander is pitching, because Rizzo
Hmm.
started. I think it's 55 games. I think he started 54 out of the first 55 games, so he needs a break. And his bat looks a little slow. So we'll see what he does tonight. But they also have Ian Hamilton coming back to help the bullpen, although Hamilton hasn't been as lights out as he was last
Isn't his ERA like
year. It's only
5.7?
maybe in the last couple games it has been, but I think he's still under. He's not definitely under 4. So,
Right.
but he's
Well,
hasn't been as consistent this year as he was last year, and
yeah.
they're also they have Tommy Canely back, and Canely
Hmm.
can um, he can
He can
certainly
pitch
shut the team down.
innings.
He's got good stuff, and
Um,
he might be able to help um, Holmes um, keeping teams under control. So that's
yeah.
a good thing. And Canely's pretty consistent, but like anything else, we'll wait and see to see how he progresses. But they everything's not perfect, but they certainly have done. They've gotten off to a big lead, and I think they've taken the bad taste out of not making the playoffs out of their mouth this year. So that's a good
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's a good.
like I said, yeah, you one of their off-season acquisitions. It means something with Soto, Verdugo, and like stepping in and making an impact, and um, like not just an impact, doing as much as they possibly could, and they have. And I mean,
He's done more than just making an impact. He's been, you can start,
yeah,
um,
he's an MVP. He's
you can
probably the
also
MVP
say,
of the AL.
you know, um, that he's been the best player for the first 50 some games of the year. Now, you probably would get arguments from the Otani fans, and maybe there's somebody on the Phillies who's had a better start, but
Shit, what about Aaron Judge? Besides batting average, Judge beats him in every single category. That's where I would start because Otani, Judge also beats in every category except batting average. But his on base percentage is right there with all of them. Higher than Otani. No one's higher than Soto, but his OPS is like is over 1,000. No one else does that. Not but anyway though, the fact that team batting behind you, that's some. And in April, Judge may as well have been a minor leaguer that got brought up too early because had the worst stats of anybody
hmm
that started that many games. He led the league in strikeouts in April, and in May, forget Soto and Otani. Judge is batting 200 points higher than both of them. He's batting like 600,
yeah,
and he leads the league in home runs. His RBIs are not there for some reason. It's you know, which is weird with Volpe and Soto always being on base. But Judge doesn't even hit singles. He just doubles and home runs.
yeah. Well, the key,
All
um, and a lot of the fans don't like Boone as a manager. Um, they've criticized a lot of little things he does, but one of the things that he has done that nobody's ever, at least I haven't seen anybody say anything about it, is he was the one who made the decision to bat Soto number 2, and
Yeah.
now
Well,
that,
I feel like you kind of had to do that though,
well, he never,
because
nobody ever
yeah.
batted him that high before, and in fact, he was not thrilled
But the Yankees bat
wanting
their
to do
best
that.
hitter too. Well, that's what they've been doing for a while now.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
they've always
Like
had
it's to maximize their bats, plain
yeah,
and simple.
and they had Judge batting number 2 for a long time,
Right, because
but
he was their
they
best hitter until Soto got there.
they
I think it's a no-brainer because he runs better than Judge. Not that Judge is a bad runner, but he's big, and you almost don't want him running. You don't want Judge stealing bases and trying to hustle
No,
to
and
get home.
you
He'll get hurt.
I don't really think you want your best player to steal
Steal
a lot
bases
of
at all.
bases either. You know, that's what
Right.
Volpe's up there for. He's quick and he can steal bases. I don't think you want Soto and Judge trying to steal bases when
But
it's.
they both are good base runners, and if since Soto tends to bat 320 and Judge tends to bat 280, and they have similar on base percentages, and Judge knocks in more runs, put it this way, and should like in old school baseball, it's a no-brainer that Judge is your cleanup hitter because he's your best home run hitter, and Soto's your best average hitter with a little pop, so he's your three hitter. And with new baseball, the two hitter is either the three or the four, depending on how high your home run hitter's batting average is.
Hmm.
So that's like the tradition. My whole life, the third uh, batter on your team was your best hitter. My whole life. You got
Right.
your speedy guy first. The guy after him hopefully can get on base as often, he's just not quite as fast, and he hits with a little more pop. Your third guy hits, between 20 and 30 home runs, and that's over 300. And your cleanup guy hits between 30 and 50 home runs. And that's what a great top four is. And since, sabermetrics and everything, it makes sense. Just look at Derek Jeter's career, being the only Yankee to have 3,000 hits. I love Jeter, and I hate for this to sound like I'm taking anything away from him, but Jeter's not your prototypical leadoff hitter, and he played 14 seasons as the leadoff hitter.
Hmm.
Only in the first couple and the last couple was he not leading off, and he probably got an extra 1,000 at bats. So that's probably why he has the most hits ever. That's why he has so many home runs, RBIs, because he's just up there with more opportunity to do it.
Right. Well,
Um,
I think
And
we.
by the way, I wanted to tell he'll uh, I'm sorry. Stroman's 179 ERA in May. Heals a 0.69 ERA in May. Uh, Cortez is, let's see, what do you think Cortez is?
It's
I'm sorry.
probably a little bit
Uh,
over two because he's higher on the road and he's lights out at home. So I would say
he's
somewhere about
2.28 in May.
yeah.
And
Schmidt is
what do you
probably low. He's probably low twos, high 1.8, 1.9. He's
what do you think about Rondon?
and Rodon is,
Rodon. I
is
always call him
about
Rondon.
is under two, I think. I would guess.
Yeah, with that last start he made, you would think so.
So
Yes. So like the highest, what do you call the highest that ERA on the Yankees is in May is 2.28 for their starters. That's insane. And like I kept saying, without Judge playing well and without the Martian in the minor leagues who they were expect. That's pretty much why Verdugo's on the team because he wasn't healthy. So they wanted to get a bat, so they got him and Soto because uh, Dominguez wasn't going to be in a lineup. They didn't want to go half the year without him or rely on him. I don't think, but the best offensive end player and their best pitcher didn't play in April, and they were still in first place. And now May, the Yankees have statistics. I looked at them. They lead every offensive category except the ones where the Phillies lead. And the only ones the Phillies lead are RBIs, runs, and total bases. The Yankees lead in everything else.
yeah.
And in pitching, they lead in everything.
Well,
Every
Phillies
statistic
have
in
the best
baseball there.
overall. Phillies have the best overall pitching. They're 2.6, and the Yankees are 2.7. So
In May?
no total.
Not in May. Yeah, that's the thing though. Like the Yankees are that close, but in April they didn't have like their best pitcher, Heels 0.69. He was 4.2 in April.
Yeah,
So the
well,
Yankees May has been so strong they caught up to the Phillies and everything. In May they're killing them, and in the season they're pretty much 60-40 in favor of the Yankees.
well,
I just can't understand why the Phillies have so many RBIs,
they
without more home runs, without more, but they steal a lot of bases.
still a lot of bases, and they have guys who hit doubles and triples who aren't really big home run
Yeah, a
hitters.
lot of triples too. I saw. That's very weird in today's game. I don't know if that's sustainable,
Well,
um, against good pitching.
well, Thursday,
Because
let's
when you
hope.
get into the playoffs, no one does that. No offensive players have good stats in the playoffs.
Well, we'll
Um,
got a long ways to go. 108 games to go before we worry about the playoffs. So
yeah,
Thursday,
that's
let's
true.
hope we're talking about another Ranger win and they can come back to the Garden to wrap it up. And we got two more
Mhm.
Yankee games under their belt, and see if they can shut down.
So the Yankees are gonna be starting. Let's see, Cortez and Stroman, or
No,
Cortez and Heel,
Rodon. No, Heel. I think it's
Rodon and
Cortez, Heel, and Rodon. I think is are pitching this series.
Tuesday, Wednesday. Oh well, in that order.
Yeah, I know it's Cortez tonight.
Uh-huh.
Uh, let's see. Um, let me. I got it right here. It's Cortez, Heel, and Rodon.
So
So
Cortez and Heel.
we'll see what they.
Um, and I will say that the Yankees are gonna come back and win both because they lost two in a row. I'm gonna predict the
They
Rangers.
lost one
They
in
have
a
to
row. They just lost Sunday.
5-2. Didn't they
Yeah,
lose
that was their.
2-1 also
They had won.
on Saturday?
They beat the Padres two in a row. They shut them
That's
down
right.
basically. So they only
That's
lost one.
right.
They're going to lose
That's right.
sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Well,
let's see if they can start a new winning streak. No,
and
yeah,
the
start
Rangers playing at the Garden, right?
at Thursday night. Correct.
Yeah. I guess I really don't know what to think about that. I don't think they'll win just because I think the series is going seven, and
Well,
actually I almost don't want them to win because I know it's going seven unless they lose. But if they go up 3-1 and lose two in a row going into game seven, I don't like that.
we'll see. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it Thursday.
What, yeah, and what do you think in the NBA prediction?
Well, Dallas is up 3-0. Games have been close, but I don't see them losing.
Well, they're up 3-0, so it's never happened.
Yeah,
Um,
hasn't happened in the NBA. It's happened in all the other sports, but not the NBA. So
yeah, and of course it's been the Red
that's
Sox against the
that's
Yankees,
an easy one to get.
Flyers, and did it. I don't remember. Well, football, yeah, but yeah, of course the Red Sox and the Flyers are the teams that did it.
Yeah,
That's
and both
awful.
against yeah beat Boston and Boston beat the Yankees. So
Yeah. All right,
okay,
yeah, next week. First, what did you shoot in golf today?
I haven't golfed yet. It's still early. I had last week.
Yeah,
Last week I had two rounds. I call them Ray Rays.
what a Ray Rays.
Ray Rays. For some of your younger um, listeners, the first Ray is after Ray Floyd, who was a
You
really
better get it out in 10 seconds if it's for the younger listeners.
okay. Well, he was a very good golfer in the 80s, and if you shoot a good, I shot 40 on the front nine and 41 on the front nine in both games, and that was the Ray Floyd part. And then on the back nine, I shot 48 and a 50, and that was the Ray Charles part. So that's the Ray Ray.
Yeah, well, that's I don't really want to know what that makes me if a fat blind heroin
But
addict is
again, and
shooting
if
under
the younger
50.
listeners don't know Ray
They
Charles,
probably
he was one of
I've heard
the
younger
greatest
people
blues,
see.
one of the
Yeah, guys,
greatest
Ray Charles
blues
was a
singers.
blind singer that played the piano, and he's one of the most uh, famous musicians in history. I know. you guys don't like history, but you better get to like it because the
So
world's probably going to end before you're
Thursday,
50 years old.
Thursday, I'll report on my score on Wednesday.
All right, and then we're going to
Okay.
talk about what I think is the new Yankees rivalry for the next 5, 10 years. Yankees Orioles is going to be the new AL East rivalry.
Yep,
It's
that
gonna.
sounds good. Okay,
All right,
listeners, have a
all
good
right,
day.
all right. Thank you.
We'll see you.
Like and subscribe, guys. I know if I don't say it, you don't do it. By the way, I'm only saying it because I'm forced to. That's very stupid. I need you to like and subscribe so I can continue to put the effort in that it takes to do this. So click that like button, ring the bell for notifications, and hit the subscribe, comment, and share it with your friends. If you could share it with a sports fan that's an influencer on the online, that would be great. We'll give you $1,000 suspended,
Okay.
meaning, a date to be determined later. All
Okay.
right. All right. Over and out. All right. Guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to chop this up into segments and please send me requests. My phone number is 202-999-9016. All right. Text me. Say, hey, I watched your channel. Do a video on this. I promise you, within 24 to 48 hours, I'll make you the most spectacular video ever. I want to sculpt this channel into something that doesn't exist. And one of the things I want to do difficult is I want to get you guys. And the one thing AI is not going to be able to do is make you a great video. Just so you know, by the end of next week, I plan to have the top 5 moments in hockey, football, baseball, and basketball ever. Um, and I'm going to have a little mini documentary where I'm not even speaking, just putting clips together of the moment and what led up to it and the aftermath. And it's going to be awesome. The first one's going to be Cal Ripken's Iron Man game. I don't know if you guys remember, but that's awesome. He had a 22-minute standing ovation, ran around the field. Nothing was planned. He didn't want the game to stop, and that's what happened. They pretty much had the longest ceremony during a baseball game ever, before, after, or during, and it was not planned, and he requested it didn't happen. So that is what we're going to start off with, and I want to hear what you guys want. Like I said, that will be something that no one else is doing. So rather than hear what you think about videos, tell me what you want and challenge me to put it up there. I don't care if it's about something that you think I don't have expertise on. I promise you I will get it if I don't have it. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Over and out.